So we'll go ahead and see if we can get through a couple more of these questions, and then we'll be done with this video. So the next one, this looks like a lot of reading, which can be kind of annoying and frustrating, but you can kind of skim it too and see what they're looking for. Sometimes with these, it's easier to read the question. So place a letter of each statement within the correct column. You may not fill up each column, meaning you don't have to fill up all the columns. So we're looking at another one. What's the author saying here? So we can go ahead and read it. Since the mid-20th century, environmental scientists have been warning the United States about the impact of unchecked carbon emissions in the atmosphere, a threat that many researchers conclude has already led to climate change. Of the many long-term dangers of climate change, which refer to the trend towards greater global temperature extremes, some of the most destructive involve lengthy droughts, diminishing fresh water supplies, and decreased world food production, although some point to the potential benefits of the temperature change in particular hemispheres. Benefits such as longer growing seasons and more temperature climates for certain populations. The hazards, however, far outweigh any potential advantages. Since the United States has the second highest rate of carbon emissions per person, it must lead the way dramatically cutting industrial emissions, finding alternative sources of fuel that do not release carbon dioxide as a byproduct. Positive efforts are now underway, particularly through the EPA, which has fostered several international partnerships to limit production of carbon dioxide, among other greenhouse gases. So from this statement, we have to look at what the author agrees with, disagrees with, and what information isn't provided. So the United States has failed to take any action against carbon emissions. Is that true? The author would agree, disagree, or doesn't agree, or it's not in here. So you can quick scan this. What's it say? Since the United States is the second highest rate of carbon emission, it must lead the way dramatically cutting these. Positive efforts are underway. So we have the EPA, so I would say that the author agrees with that one. Next, the dangers of climate change are more significant than the possible benefits. So do the dangers outweigh the benefits? He specifically asks this question. Although some point to the potential benefits of the temperature change, the hazards far outweigh any potential advantages. So the dangers of climate change are more significant than the possible benefits. I would go ahead and agree with that one. Wind energy is preferable to solar energy. Nowhere in this does it talk about wind energy or solar energy or anything like that. So you can just go ahead and mark that one C. Doesn't matter. Climate change will not impact the world food supply. So what are we looking at? Does it have anything? We look at up here. Carbon emissions include of many long-term climate change, which refer to the greater trend. Some of the most destructive, decreased world food population. So climate change will not affect. He says specifically that it will affect by decreasing world food production. So we're going to go ahead and put that one D right there. So there's your answers. That's all you have to do for that. Nothing super crazy or difficult. You just say, look at what he says, what he doesn't say, and what's not there. So next one. So we're looking at another map. Forced resettlement of American Indians 1830. So forced meaning they didn't choose to go there. They were forced there by the white government at that time. So which of the following is most likely a reason that American Indians were forcibly relocated in the 1830s? So looking at this, you have pretty much all of the north, south, west, east. You have most of the native populations are moving towards the west, away from the east, towards Kansas, Nebraska, that area. So go down here. Whites wanted lands in Kansas and Nebraska territory for settlement. So they're all moving towards Kansas. So obviously, if they're being forced towards Kansas, we don't, the whites or we as in like the Americans at that time don't want Kansas they're looking for this area because they're moving them out of the eastern states. Whites wanted to take over lands in the eastern states, right here. That's exactly what they're doing. They're all moving out of this area over here, which is the east, heading towards the west. So your answer is going to be B. Indians of different tribes wanted to settle in a single Indian territory. There's nothing, they didn't want to, they were forced. So that's what I mean when you see read the title, because it's forced. Meaning they weren't like, hey, we want to go over here. They were like, no, you have to go over here. You're leaving, you're going onto reservations. Indians in the eastern states wanted to look for gold in the west. Okay, that makes no sense because they don't want anything here. They're wanting to move. They're being forced out. So the only answer that makes sense right here is B. The whites wanted to take over the eastern side of the United States. Which American Indian tribe was moved the farthest from its tribal land? So we have the Sauk, Fox, Cherokee, Choctaw, and Seminole. So you look, okay, who was moved the farthest away from their land? Well, the farthest up the east here is the Seminoles right here in Florida. And they're having to move all the way over here towards Arkansas, and then even into Kansas and the Kansas Territory. So you see the Seminole, they're moving the farthest from way east all the way over. They have the longest line. And this one, basically, you're just looking at the line that's the longest. So from here, here's their line. It's going to be the Seminole moved the farthest. So that's kind of, we made it through 13 questions today. Like I said, if you have any questions, please check out our website, opendoorsspokane.com. Ask questions. You can always shoot emails to any of the instructors. All of our information is on that website. Like I said, we're going to have some live lessons from Sean and Mike and Martin starting in a couple weeks. So that's something to look forward to. And I'm going to try to get more of these social studies and some more language arts lessons to you in the upcoming days. Anyways, I would like you to all stay safe and go ahead and try to stay out of the areas that are keeping you icky and things like that, and go ahead and have a good weekend. So I think that's it.